Do you regret it?
This interview is going to be terrible.
Do you regret it?
Hey friends, welcome back to At the Table with Jess. Listen, today we are going to talk about all things singleness and women in ministry and probably older singles. And so what I did today to make this less awkward for me is I don't know that it's going to be less awkward for me, but I brought in my spiritual daughter, Giulia.
Hi.
Feitosa Minton Pereira. She's Brazilian. And Ju's actually going to lead the conversation today. And so we're going to jump into, all things singleness. I know that you asked ChatGPT something, but I don't know much more than that. So it's all yours now.
We wanted to surprise you, and get your real reaction.
Great.
Yeah.
So, to start with, I get asked about singleness a lot.
All the time. I've witnessed so many times.
And I usually refrain from sharing because I know that my story is quite different than a lot of people's. And so I think, we're just going to go for it. I'm 37.
You're 37.
I'm single.
You're single.
I'm in ministry.
How long have you been in ministry now?
I've been in ministry.
Or you started when you were?
I mean, I took my first position at a church when I was 19.
Okay.
So,
and you've dated throughout the whole process, right?
Yeah. Dated over time. I mean, I've had seasons, I know we make fun of these seasons of singleness. I've had seasons when the Lord's asked me not to date.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've dated pretty consistently in ministry.
Okay.
So it's serious.
Let's go for it. Okay. So there is this whole thing going on, and it is ask ChatGPT about something and the assumptions or what's going to happen. So, for example, there's a bunch of people listening on Instagram, and they're like, hey, what would Satan or the devil do with Gen Z if he was trying to distract them? So we decided, why not do it with single women in ministry? So we asked ChatGPT to, present the assumptions people would make about a 37-year-old woman who was single and in ministry.
So the question that you asked ChatGPT was specifically what?
Yeah, I was like, give me the assumptions people would make about a 37 single woman in ministry.
Straight up asked him, what are your assumptions?
Yeah, not his, but what people would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, when you're about to read these, I'm probably going to get roasted.
Yes, probably. But I want to hear your opinion on them. If you agree, if you're like, no, they're false, they're true. Just let's go for it.
This could be dangerous.
Yes, it could. I love it.
Tell me what you got.
Okay, we have 8. We might do an entire video or break it into 2, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, first one. The first assumption people would make about you is she's too career focused or ministry driven for marriage.
Fair.
Talk to me about that.
Okay, I think that's been the assumption about me for a very long time, and I would say for the majority of my life that was true. So most of my 20s, I got saved as a teenager, and you've heard me say this so many times. Every moment of my life has been marked since that moment. Yeah. Right. So when I got saved, I just became obsessed with Jesus and obsessed with all things Jesus and church. And then when I got into missions, I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so most of my 20s was spent trying to obey Jesus, bopping around the world, but also fighting to find a place that I could land in the nations because I thought I was called to be a full-time missionary. Yeah. And so people call me a missionary, and I think that's a fair judgment of me, but most of my 20s, I didn't live in other nations. I was going back and forth a lot. Yeah. So over 40 nations, months at a time, sometimes 3 weeks at a time, sometimes a month, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months, taking teams, going, And I dated because I knew ultimately that I wanted to be a wife and I wanted to be a mom, but it wasn't a priority for me at all. So when it says career focused, I mean, I would say ministry focused, 100%. That's a fair accusation.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Do you regret it?
This interview is going to be terrible.
Do you regret it? Like being just focusing on ministry when you knew maybe it was not your main priority, but you knew you wanted to get married.
Do you know how comfortable
someday?
this is for me because I'm not married, so I'm like still in the middle of this thing. You know, okay, I felt the sting of emotion there for a second. I would never regret giving Jesus my yes to anything.
Yeah.
So let me be clear about that. Like, for the part in which I was saying yes to what God was asking me to do, I don't regret that at all.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for the experiences that I had. I'm so grateful for the nations that I got to go to, the sermons I got to preach, the sermons I got to hear, the miracles we saw, the salvations we saw. I could go on and on and on. Deliverances, and like those have shaped me and formed me in a way that I could never regret. What I regret was that when I was dating or had relationship, I didn't make it a priority at all. It was just this thing I was doing. And so like, I just want to be careful to like cover people. Not that I think they would care, but like one man in particular that I'm thinking about that I was dating, that was like, he really wanted to pursue marriage. And I really liked him. Like I was attracted to him. He also came from a missions family, like totally understood missions. Had been involved in that his whole life. And I remember him telling me one time, like, I just feel like you're not making space for me in your life.
Yeah.
And he was right. We were in 2 different time zones, and I was so focused on ministry and I was so focused on what I was doing that I wasn't willing to sacrifice to allow him space to become part of my life. I regret that.
Yeah.
And so there's not like one of those men that I look back at and I'm like, I should have made it work with you, you know, like, By the way, almost every guy I've dated, I think, is married now. So we bless your marriages. I'm so happy for you. So you're saying that people should
date you
to get married. I mean, that's the joke I make all the time, right? Like most guys marry the woman they date right after me. Yeah. And my joke is that I made it so hard for them that as soon as they met another woman, they're like, you're amazing. So much better than the last girl. And please, people, don't send me stuff telling me I need inner healing. It's a joke. I'm just kidding. It's funny. But yeah, so I think like I regret the posture of my heart, and that's something that I've tried to do with you and the other women that are around me is like give dating a chance, give men a chance, like open your heart. Like you can be sold out for God and make space for a spouse or a significant other in your life. And I just didn't do that well for a long time.
So talk to me about that just a little bit, because for example, me, I want to get married, but I also want to do ministry. How do you navigate that? Because I feel like that's one of the questions that people are always like, I don't know how to do both. Like, I don't want to just be home with my kid, which that's amazing. But I also don't want to just travel and leave it to the side getting married.
Most of us are living like an all or nothing lifestyle. Like we think it has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And when I was young, I really thought that. My thought was that like, as soon as I get married, I will no longer get to be in ministry unless I'm a pastor's wife. And you know, I'm not married, so I can't speak to the reality that you do need to make sacrifices when you get married, and you definitely need like things shift and change. Like I'm not going to be bebopping in and out of the country every month. Yeah. But I've got really good friends that did the same work that I did at that time, going in and out of war zones, and they're still doing that now with a baby on their hip, you know? And I'm like, wow, you're a superwoman. Like, how do you do that? And they're destroying some of the lies that I believed, that I thought I would have to exchange one for the other. And so when you talk about this word that I often hate, and you know that about me, but like the word balance, I'm like, it's not about balance. It's about being obedient to what God's asking you to do. And there is a way to do ministry just like anybody else works a job and have a family, have a husband, have kids, and do life together. So you can have both. It's just in those early stages when you're so used to running. And that's one thing about ministry that's not the same as like a 9-to-5 job, is like our hours are weird. And like when you throw in travel, and if you're pastoring, you've got, I mean, I took a meeting yesterday morning at 6:30 in the morning. Like you've got people coming over. Sometimes you're with people for 3, 4, 5 hours, but you're also prepping sermons and sitting in your, closet praying all day long. Like there's all these different aspects that you don't necessarily have with a 9-to-5. I'm jumping on planes. I'm going, time zones. You just have to be willing to cut out space for relationship. Yeah. But I would make this argument, and then we should probably jump to your other assumptions, because I'll talk too long. I know. But I would say that even if you're not married or you're not dating currently, you can start putting this into practice by carving out space for community, which you should be doing anyway. Yeah. Like, carve out time to go be a part of other families and invest in the other people in your lives and relationships in your life. I didn't do that in my 20s. And our dear friend Moosey, who obviously you know well, looked at me in a time where I wasn't extremely close to her.
Yeah.
And she just looked at me and she was like, you don't let anybody into your life. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I got tons of friends.
That's very Moosey
like. I literally remember saying to her, I think I had 12 coffees with people this week. And she was like, yeah, but like, you get to know everybody else. And they all think that you're their good friend and you're their best friend. But you don't let anybody in, and you're not doing deep relationship with any of them. And you're willing to go meet them in a coffee shop, but you're not willing to meet them at the table, you know? And she was right. Yeah. And so that was honestly one of the moments where I realized like that I had a void of community in my life and a void of prioritizing relationship over ministry. And I started, I honestly, and I think she would attest to this too. I started trying. Yeah. And that's changed everything. Yeah. So
I agree. Yeah. Okay. Number 2. Assumption number 2.
Why do I feel nervous about this?
Because we haven't told
I just don't know where you're going to go.
No.
Yeah.
She must be waiting for the perfect man.
Nah, not true.
Not true.
No, you know me well. Yeah. I think I'm pretty realistic.
You are.
Now, gosh, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this. My best friend, who's known me since like 8th grade, who probably knows me better than anybody in the world, she used to call me shallow. And what? So you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. So like she would basically say like, you're super snap judgmental looking at somebody. And that's not fair. Like, let me be clear. Like, I know I'm not like model, like number 10, like, oh my God, you know,
you're number 1.
I'm a number 1. I am number 1.
A-list.
Yeah. I think I made snap judgments. Yeah. That would be your point. Like, you could talk to somebody for 30 seconds and then you've already made a decision whether you like them or not.
How did you change that?
But that was always hard for me because I have a gift of discernment.
Yeah.
So like it was really difficult for me because I felt like I could talk to somebody for 30 seconds and feel what I needed to, or not to feel, which that is a whole other topic that I don't want to talk about on a podcast, but maybe another one. No, I think I had I don't think that's true. Yeah. That's all I want to say. I had a pretty realistic view that I understand that like I wasn't perfect. I had things and still have things that I have to work through. I had my issues. They have their issues. And because I was dating, I understood that. Like, I think that should be something to point out is like, it wasn't like I was only dating people for a month. Like I had long-term relationships. Yeah. And I knew that they weren't perfect and I wasn't perfect. Yeah. And so I don't feel, and I still don't feel like I'm waiting for the perfect man. I would even say like at this point, I'm 37. I'm like, do you have a pulse? Are you single? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's like, not true. Yeah, totally. Do you have a job?
That's why you're perfect.
Do you wear clothes in public? You know, like the bar is low, you know? No, I'm kidding. That's not true. But yeah, like, yeah.
I love we talked about it a lot, but I love the rule that you implemented. And I don't know if you implemented at all, but you were like, oh yeah, if someone asks me out, I'll say yes. Yeah. Like at least to a first date.
Yeah. I was probably about 30. I had just moved to Brazil and I cried for weeks telling the Lord, like, you're sending me there and I'm never going to get married. And like, literally I thought because I didn't know how long I would be there, you know? So there was this aspect of moving to Brazil that I was like, I might move there and never meet a husband ever. And I'm just going to die single and alone on the mission field. Which he's worthy of it all. It's fine. But like, yeah. So that's when I kind of started going, hey, I'm willing to give anybody a shot. Yeah. And maybe because that had been an accusation against me so often was like, well, you're just judgmental, or you think your standards are too high, or you're just waiting for this, you know, perfect man. And people of course had accused me of that. And, I felt like if there's any sliver of truth to what they're saying, then I'll just give every man a shot. Now, I want to be clear. I hate that you're bringing this up because now I'm going to get all these DMs.
I know. I thought about it, but I just had to.
No, like I would say yes to absolutely every person, but I'm way more open that maybe I meet somebody and I'm like, I don't feel it, but they ask me out and I'm like, I will totally go to coffee with you and just get to know you. And then if it doesn't work,
it's
great.
A coffee.
And I've actually ended up having several great relationships that way because I went to a coffee with somebody that I didn't necessarily think it was going to work out. And then they ended up being phenomenal. And then we continued to date.
Great. Yeah. Talk about the idea of like a perfect man, not just the way it looks or the way he seems, but about the idea that people have like, oh, I am super in love with the Lord and this guy is ish there. You know, and it's like, oh, I can't date that person.
You're just trying to get me to have a bunch of hate mail.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to be real because those are questions that people have.
Help me understand a little bit more then. Like, what exactly are you saying?
So I've met a lot of girls and I've been one of the girls that it's like, I really want to date, but I'm so in love with the Lord and I want a guy who's going to be at the same level as I am in my love with the Lord, you know?
Yeah.
How do you... I don't know.
Deal with that?
Yeah, navigate that.
Well, first off, you're pretty prideful if you barely know a person and you think you know their depth of their love for the Lord. Like, and I'm saying that as someone who used to be that way. Like, I would meet somebody and I'd be like, oh, well, I go to war zones and I dance and I do that, and they barely lift their hand and worship. What's wrong with them? You know, so prideful, so judgmental as a young believer. So I think, you know, number one, deal with your own issue there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you don't get to judge the depth of their love with Jesus off some snap judgment. And I'm not asking, that's another thing is like, I'm not asking the question. Now, granted, there's certain things that are non-negotiables. Like, if you're not living by the word of God, like if there doesn't seem to be any conviction in your life, if you're a non-believer, like if those things, that's a big deal. Being unequally yoked is a big deal. So I'm not saying where they are in the relationship with Christ doesn't matter. Like don't hear me say that. But what I am saying is I'm less looking for me to determine where they are spiritually, and I'm more asking for God to speak.
Yeah.
Like if God's giving me permission to pursue relationship with that person, be in relationship with person, then that matters 1,000% more than what my opinion is on what I think they should be and what I think they should be doing and where I think they should be. And so, but I, you know, that's a scary topic for me to talk about publicly because we give advice on these things in relationship.
Yeah, it depends on the relationship, the person, or
100%. Yeah. Like I want to know you. I want to know where you are. I want to know that person. I want to know where they are. Before we start giving blanket advice on whether that's okay or not.
I remember one time this person came to me, and I don't remember who it was, but the person was like, "Look at their heart, because if they have a teachable heart." It isn't like they will listen to the Lord, they will grow, they will run, and it's okay, you know? Okay. Yeah. Number 3.
But just to pause that, the one thing, like their relationship with Jesus does matter.
It matters.
So we're not saying that.
No, we're not saying it doesn't matter.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 3. She's probably lonely or unfulfilled.
Gosh, even Taylor's laughing over there.
I've heard
that's
it.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question for those that are watching. Do you think I'm lonely and unfulfilled? Is that the judgment that the people around me have had in their heart? Do you think that?
I don't think so.
You know me. What do you think?
I don't think you're lonely or unfulfilled. I think you found everything that you need in the Lord and you're happy where you're at with the community that you have, with the things that the Lord has asked you to do. As you said, you have no regrets. There's still a desire in your heart to, if the right man comes, I would love to do life with someone to that level or to that extent, but it's not what I need to, oh my gosh, to fulfill the thing that the Lord has called me to do or to do that. It's something that you would like.
I think one of the great, I don't know if I want to call it issues or pursuits or what, for a believer is learning to live in the tension of where I am. As Paul said, I have learned to be content in all things. He says this in Philippians chapter 3. And, you know, he says, whether I'm in plenty or whether I'm in lack, I have learned to be content. And so I would say to like any single women watching this, like, it doesn't mean you won't have moments of loneliness. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of feeling like I wish, like, God, I'm praying for, I'm believing for. How long do I have to believe for? But the pursuit of the believer is the tension between what you feel like God has promised you or what you desire and where you are. And maturity is learning to be in peace and joy and contentment and pursuit of everything God's called you to in that moment, and trusting the heart of the Father that if I don't have it right now, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I trust him. And the thing is, like, you're going to have to face this in every area. There are certain things I want to be doing in ministry that I'm not doing right now, but that doesn't mean I'm discouraged and depressed about my life.
That you're unfulfilled.
That I'm unfulfilled. There are certain things that we want to see, healing when somebody's got, sickness in their body. Like, of course you want to see a miracle. You want to see a healing. You want to see these things. But the tension is that, can you rejoice and have joy and peace in the midst of when you don't have the thing?
Yeah.
And for me, that was something that I think I did a decent job of learning early on in life. And for the most part, I'm really fulfilled, and I'm not lonely, and I'm so happy, and I love my life, and it's full and it's beautiful. Yeah. And yet there's still this thing that I'm believing God for, and I'm living in the tension of wanting the promise, but not walking in it yet. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. But yeah, so I just to reiterate, like, that doesn't mean I don't have moments when I'm lonely. So, that I went through PTSD about 10 years ago, and everything that could crash around me did. Like, I had a relationship that was very important to me was extremely strained and falling to pieces. I had other people who loved me and cared about me and were great friends, but like didn't know really how to help in the midst of me going through PTSD. I felt isolated, alone, and hopeless. Yeah. And in those moments, I remember thinking, I just wish I had a husband to help me. Yeah. Like, I wished I just had that close of a confidant that I could like have near.
Yeah. We have this joke with the house, like when we have to fix something or we have to like something, change the light or something. It's like, oh, I wish we had a husband.
Oh my gosh, like,
you had a husband, I had a husband.
For every woman that's watching this that is single, like, buying a house single, man, nothing has made me want to be married more.
I know.
Like, I remember, I mean, I'm sure you did too. So for those that don't know, I own a house, and the Lord asked us to fill it up with women. We're hopefully going to be fostering
soon.
People soon, young children soon. But like, we bought the house, and it was like all this stuff needed to be done. Like, to this day, I don't own a lawnmower because one of my best friend's husbands comes over and mows the lawn for me. Thank God for men, by the way.
I know.
Like, if there were any type of women only bone in my body, that was decimated when we bought a house. I'm like, no, we need men. I love men.
I'm
taking applications for a husband. Sign me up. Can you do yard work? Do you know how to fix things? That's like just a simple thing. The cabinet door broke.
I know.
And it took me days to figure out what hinge to buy.
I remember one day that I was trying to put the blinds on and like fix them on the corner. And it took me like an entire day just to be able to do it. And then one of our friends was there and he's married. And I was like, I went to his wife and I was like, hey, can I ask for his help? And she's like, yeah, of course. He did it in 5 seconds. Yeah. So it took me a day to do it just to put the blinds up.
And then we had the day where like there was all this like overgrown area in our backyard. We have a pretty piece of property behind the house, but it like overgrown. It hadn't been taken care of. And it was like, you know what? I woke up one day. You know this. I woke up one day and I was like, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm chainsawing this mess myself.
We learned how to use a chainsaw.
And we got chainsaws out there. But I'll say this, like, at the end of that day, I was like, I am woman. Look at what I can do, you know? But then the second day, I was like, where are the men? I'm tired of doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. God, bring the man, rain him down. Yeah. So, yeah, like there's those moments where you feel the reality of what God said in Genesis, that it's not good for man to be alone. Yeah. You feel the reality of like, man, I want a helper. I want a helpmate. I want a confidant that can be that close. I want a friend that can be that close. And so in those moments, I miss it, even though I don't have it, but I'm still happy and joyful and at peace and love my life. And I'm so grateful. And that's the tension that we get to live in, is like, can I hold what has been promised that I don't have in my possession yet and be grateful for what I do have? Can you do those two things at once?
Yeah, I agree. Number 4, and then we'll wrap it up and do maybe a second part.
Okay.
Number 4, there's something wrong with her. with you. Ouch. Is there something wrong with you?
That feels...
Maybe?
That feels... I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's something you have to ask the people around you.
It's
like,
true.
Do you know? I'll say this. Like, I don't...
you are a little weird, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
No, like, I'm just kidding. It's just
I'm
a joke.
Quirky, right? Like, I would say that about myself.
It
like,
depends.
I'm quirky.
Yeah.
But
you're not.
I think I'm quirky. Like, today I flipped over the dining room table because I thought there was like a
little
dip in it. And I just flipped it over. And I remember Annalise looking at me like I was absolutely insane. And you just ignored it because you're used to it.
I was just like,
and then Taylor walked in. She's like, what are you doing?
Laptop,
I'm like, I thought there was a divot in the table and I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
So, I'm strange.
I don't think that equals something wrong, though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't sit around asking God, like, is something wrong with me? Like, why does a man not want me? Like, I have other things I attribute my singleness to. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, I feel like other people would have to look at you and go, no, like, you have some glaring flaws in your personality or in the way that you do things. And I'm not saying that I have it all together by any means, but I don't think there's something innately wrong with me.
If I could speak on it, like, I've done life very closely with you in the last few years now. Yeah. And there's nothing, like, you have some weird things that you like to do, but like,
I mean, don't you feel like everybody does?
Yeah, everyone does.
Like, everybody has their quirks.
Yeah, their own things that it's like, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I have a strong personality.
You do, but
like,
that doesn't.
I have certain things that are quirky about me that I know.
It's not. Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
I wouldn't assume that.
I've heard this from other women though, so like maybe we should address that to some degree. Like, I've heard other women say, like, that's one of the thoughts that the enemy really like perpetrates in their mind. Yeah, is like, something is innately wrong with me, and that's why I'm not wanted. I think maybe because I have dated some and like been given the gift of like choice, like saying yes to someone or saying no to someone, as opposed to just not ever having that opportunity. I think I've never felt like, oh, something's wrong with me. Yeah, I've felt like I just haven't met the person that wants to say yes to me, and I want to say yes to them. Yeah, that like I can imagine a future with, and them feel the same way back. And so I don't know. I would encourage any woman watching this, like, it's not about something being innately wrong with you. Like, do the inner healing that you need to do. Yeah. Deal with your junk.
Deal with your mess.
Like, do the work. Go to therapy if you need to.
Exactly.
Like, take a course on relationships or communication, or I don't know, whatever. Like, whatever you need to. Style. Like, I get that. I've had people literally tell me before that, like, if I would just dress nicer, then I would get a husband. And I'm like, I mean, sometimes I do dress nice. Like, I wear dresses
on
sometimes.
Tuesday.
I dress super cute sometimes, you know. But I'm typically a jeans and sweatshirt girl. That's mainly because I'm cold. Like, I get, you know that.
You don't like to be cold.
I don't like
at
all.
Cold.
I get very cranky when I'm cold. So I wear sweatshirts a lot because I'm really cold. Yeah. And I wear things that I can add sweatshirts to because I get really cold all the time. So it's not like I'm wearing my dress out and throwing my sweatshirt on, you know. But I don't know why I'm trying to justify the way I dress all of a sudden publicly.
You're like,
for all of those who have told me that before, because people have told me that before.
I've heard that.
Yeah. I don't sit there and go, well, it's this, and this, and if I change these things about me. But I would also say, like, as a woman, like, if you're trying to get a guy, maybe dress a little nicer. I don't know, like, do whatever work you feel like you need to do on yourself to be the best version of yourself for when you do meet that person. And I feel, I think that I've done, and I'm not arrived, but I've done those things. Like, I've done the work of hopefully healing from trauma and experience and bad thought patterns. And
you do want to heal and again,
I want to be whole.
Deal with your mess. But
I want to be a whole person that walks into a marriage with a whole person.
Yeah, and it still doesn't mean like, oh, I got to the point that I'm perfect. Yeah. No, it's like I've done enough work that I can have a relationship, a mature relationship, and do it.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 first ones.
Okay.
Thank you so much for you women watching, and we'll come back for part 2 soon. So just keep looking at the channel, and we'll be here back soon. Thank you.